Well, I'm very pleased to again have Elena Danaan back with us on Exopolitics today. And Elena's going to be answering some questions about some recent updates that she's been doing on her YouTube channel, just letting people know about the activities of the Galactic Federation that she works with very closely. So I want to welcome you again, Elena, to Exopolitics today.
Thank you, thank you, Michael, and I'm glad to be back with you. Yes, indeed. Maybe if, not everyone know, I am in contact with the man who rescued me when I was a child. Thor Han is a Hale Pleiadian, and he works for the Galactic Federation of Worlds. He is a fleet commander. So we have this telepathic communication, and this is facilitated by an implant device that I have in my head. So this device is activated by sometimes outburst of emotion or energy, which is the same. And without us just wanting this contact, the contact happens. And sometimes I am connected with him telepathically in the middle of something uh, unexpectedly. And a few days ago, I received this outburst of emotion. He was going through stress. So this just switched on, and I was connected to him. And when I'm connected to him, I see what he sees. I see through his eyes. So he was a bit uncomfortable that I could see what was happening, because he fears a lot for my safety and he doesn't want to worry me. But what I saw was quite mind blowing. He was in a little shuttle ship, and he was above Mars, planet Mars. And so there was a kind of stress. And suddenly I saw uh, dark discoidal flying saucers uh, passing passing above us, coming from the left and passing above us. And Thor Han said in his head to me, he said, don't worry, we are cloaked, they can't see us." And I knew that this was an enemy coming from Mars, and they were dark metallic discoidal ship, like the typical flying saucers with dark metal, but the bottom of it was a clearer, lighter disc. They went quite fast. I didn't really have the time to see. There were features like 3 circles underneath, but that went very fast. I don't know if it was circles or balls. Uh, I didn't have the time to really see, but there were 3 circles under each of them in a clearer metallic gray. And then his shuttle went on the right quickly, and there was another fleet coming, but from the right, and this I recognized it. It was one of the fleet from the Federation. It was obviously the fleet that he was commanding, and it was typical Pleiadian ship, flying saucer shape as well, but very elegant and very bright silver, like it's this shape like this. And they went from the right, and they attacked the darker saucers, and they shot at them beams of energy beams, and there was a battle start it went very quick. They shot at each other, but it lasted maybe 3 or 4 seconds, this exchange. It went very fast. And then the dark fleet, because that's only the only way I can call it. Suddenly there was a blast of light, and they disappeared on the left of the screen. When I'm in contact with him, I cannot by myself direct my vision, because it is through his vision. So wherever he looks, that's what I get. So I couldn't see what was happening. Either they were destroyed or either they just dematerialized to go away, to escape. And then the Federation bright metallic fleet went on the right and they changed course. They went away from Mars very quickly, and Thor Han ship followed them. And he said to me, "We have started the raids on Mars. It has started." And I say, wow, what was that? And he said, this was what you call the dark fleet. And it was the first time I was hearing about that. But then I checked on internet and I went, oh my God, there is a dark fleet, and that's this. Wow. But he couldn't tell me more because it was in the middle of the action. He said, that's the dark fleet. And he said, we have started as well to destroy their satellites on orbit of Earth. It has started. It will take a long time, maybe months or years, but we have started operation on Mars. And that's what he said. And we cut there. And he said, we need to cut that. We cut.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to touch on some things. I just want to do a share screen because I think it's very good to clarify exactly what it was that you saw through Thor Han's eyes. Now, so I'm just doing a screen share. So
Oh my God!
is that what you saw? Is it like that's the Hannibal 3 craft that was developed by Nazi Germany during the war? And is that what you saw? Something like that?
Listen, I couldn't see what was on the top because they went above us. I could see only the underneath, and underneath, yeah, there were like bolts. It's bolts, isn't it? Yes. But the bolts, the center, it was clearer, and the body of the ship was darker. It was made differently. The colors were different. On this photo, it seems that the bolts underneath are darker, and the body of the ship is lighter, but it was different. But same, from underneath, it could totally have been that. But then I couldn't see the top. I didn't know what was on the top. I haven't seen it.
Right. Well, so that's the Hannibal craft. It's the one that has 3 hemisphere balls underneath it, kind of hemispheric shapes, and then there's one in the center. So, you know, looking at it from a distance, you would probably see 3 hemispheres. And these I believe are used. I think it's part of the anti-gravity propulsion system that they have. But interesting. So the Dark Fleet that you saw through Thor Han's eyes.
Yeah.
These were the craft, or something very similar to this, were part of that.
Yes. I cannot certify it was these ones because I haven't seen the top half of them, but I said it could have been this one. It's a very high possibility because the bottom part looked like this.
Very good. Okay, so the question I have now is, so these were ships that were designed and built by the Germans during the Second World War with the help of the reptilian extraterrestrials, and the stories that people have given is that you know, the Dark Fleet comprises these ships and that it works alongside the reptilians. So the question I have is, so the Galactic Federation did battle against these the Dark Fleet, which included these German craft as well, because later on you also described raiding Mars facilities that the reptilian and that the reptilians and the Ciakar and the Orions had. So really, the Galactic Federation is actually physically fighting not just against reptilian and Orion extraterrestrials, but also against the Germans that are part of the Dark Fleet.
Yes, what Thor Han said to me is that well afterwards that there is an alliance between this he called it from the Antarctican alliance with reptilians and tall whites from Altair system. He named Aldebaran as well. Star system, it's in Taurus constellation. Altair is in Aquila constellation. But then there's the Orion Greys, the Orion group, the Alliance of the Six, who are as well kind of dealing with them. It's very complicated. But all of these people have outposts on Mars. So Mars, after what I was told, there are Mars belongs to the Reptilian Collective, which is a collective of reptilians, Ciakars from Alpha Draconis and area, Rigel and the Orion group, and the Greys. So it's a collective. They call it a collective. So they hold Mars, and on Mars there are, I think there are at least two, but I have been told only about one human facility. But this is like terrorized or half enslaved by reptilians. And this human facility, in this human facility, there are highly graded officers and elites, military elites, and people. How to say? People who have high positions on Earth who can go there. There is a portal on Earth that allows to just teleport there. He said that it's in United States. I don't know where it is. And that's it. There's something interesting. Well, I don't know if that worth or not, but that was something intriguing. After I put this video update of 5 minutes about I saw that, I saw the dark fleet, etc. A lady contacted me. She's doing remote viewing. Her name is Honor Lottering, and she said, "Oh, I just saw your video, and a week ago I made a video," and she sent me the link, and she remote viewed a meeting on Mars with a reptilian officer who was meeting humans in a facility on Mars, a human facility. He was meeting humans. In these humans, she said, there was someone from NASA, there was Elon Musk, and different people with militaries. And and they were very angry because they were saying that they were about to be attacked, and they were scared and panicked because they were about to be attacked. That was a week ago, and that matches with what I saw. But then I don't know if that's then it's just something that came to me. Anyway, so yeah.
Okay, well, so the question, just to clarify then, is that on Mars, we know that there are different extraterrestrial groups. You mentioned human-looking, a group from Altair. There's reptilians, and there's the tall greys, and so that they have separate facilities, I assume,
Yeah.
on Mars, their own bases, their own facilities on Mars, and then there's one big human base, and it's controlled by the Ciakars, by the reptilians. So that human base, is that something that was created by the Germans back in the 40s and 50s? Do you know anything about its history? Is it or do the Germans have a separate facility?
I think it wasn't the visualization Thor Han gave me. It didn't have the German feel, or it didn't look German. It was more linked with USA and linked with the jumping door, how he calls it in
jump room.
USA. jump
Jump
room.
room.
Oh, he calls it jumping doors. Funny, jump room.
Okay.
So it's more USA thing,
O-
and I think there's another facility for the Germans.
Okay,
But
good.
the USA, the USA one is the one terrorized by the Ciakars, and that makes me think about what Stefan Chua was saying, the whistleblower from Area 51, that he saw a shuttle coming from a Martian facility
Hmm.
with American engineer,
Hmm.
So that matches. So I think, yeah, there's at least two different facilities. I've been told these two groups, the Germans and the Americans, uh, either on Mars or somewhere else, like in the moon, on the moon, they competitors.
Hmm.
They're competitors. They
Okay.
don't work together.
Yeah, that's good to clarify because that is something that people who have been revealing the secret space program information. They talk about the Mars facilities. They talk about the Germans having established had their headquarters there. They also talk about a kind of collaboration and interplanetary corporate conglomerate, which basically produces a lot of high tech equipment that is then sold or given over to the dark fleet. So I would assume then that this big base that's dominated by the reptilians, that's probably this US or this base that was built between corporations that are connected in some way with the US military industrial complex. And so that brings in the Area 51 connection and Stephen Chow, the Singapore super soldier, and his involvement.
It all makes sense. It all
Mhm.
makes sense. I am not very knowledgeable about all the corporation and
Mhm.
who does what. I just get the information that I get, and it is great that you are able to understand and make the links and
Mhm.
confirm. It's absolutely amazing, and wow.
So this is really important because this is only recently that the Galactic Federation has decided to start attacking these bases on Mars belonging
Yeah.
to these extraterrestrial groups, and I assume that that's related to something we discussed a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about this galactic tyranny in the future that could be traced to the Earth, the Moon, and Mars. That the Galactic Federation is very concerned about this because they were told by the Andromeda Council that a galactic tyranny would come from those three planets, or two planets and a moon, the Earth, Moon, and Mars. So for the Galactic Federation to take action against Mars means that they're in a very active role now of not just observing, not just kind of like interfering in subtle ways, but actually military actions on Mars.
Yeah, I think they passed another gear because they just started operations. Um, yeah. So
So when did that begin, Elena? When did the actual fighting with the Galactic Federation, where they would openly start attacking bases owned by the different extraterrestrial groups, either on Earth or on Mars or on the Moon? When did that begin?
I think there are just a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago,
Hmm.
they created this alliance that they
Hmm.
call the Earth Alliance to work alongside the Earth militaries, the I would say the benevolent side, to start operations in the undergrounds. Because in the underground, the dumps, as we call them, the deep underground military bases, and all the web, it is full of reptilian extraterrestrial Ciakars, greys. There are astroports, and I mean, our militaries, our armies, they're not able to fight them. It's suicide. So that's when the Galactic Federation decide to make this alliance and break a little bit of the law of non-intervention, because that was really necessary to help to assist fighting these people underground, these beings. So that was 3 or 4 years ago, I think, about. I don't have the exact date. Recently, then they had operations on the moon about 2 months ago. I knew that was going on. Oh, sorry, before operations on the moon, they were starting to deactivate, not destroy, but deactivate satellites in orbit of Earth. Satellites that were meant to control people. I'm going to do this. It's linked with this. Then these operations on the moon to liberate the moon from the Orion group, to kick the Orion group from the moon. In their laws, this Galactic Federation, they are not allowed to interfere in the Earth affairs. They cannot, pick a group of Earthlings that do cause harm and kill them all to benefit on another group of Earthlings. They cannot interfere like this. So as long as it's Earth people, they cannot really, it's like the Germans, they cannot kill them because that would be really breaking their law. But what they can do is getting us rid of all the other ETs. So that's what they started to do. On the moon, they removed all the Greys facilities that were on the moon. There has been fight. I had one of these connections. That's how I knew. Again, a fight in space behind the moon, where there was a black triangle ship. Actually, there were a few of them attacked, and it imploded because when I saw ships imploding in space, it implodes. It doesn't explode. It implodes, and it just disintegrates. It's really impressive, like sucked. So they liberate the moon. They had to hold it for a long while. But now he said that that's secured for the moment. They're going to try to retake it, the Greys, but for the moment, it's quite stable. At that time, I said to him, so what about all the rest that is going on the moon with different, I don't know, Chinese, Russian, all the mining facilities, etc. I said, we cannot do anything. That's your satellite. You do whatever you want with it. You're entitled to continue your wars on it, but we don't intervene. We can't. It's not our business. And it's understandable. Then the moon was secured, and I knew that the next step would be Mars. But he doesn't tell me things, the operations in advance. It's for my own safety. And now, just last week, they have started raids on Mars. And he said to me, that's going to be a very, very long job because that may take months or years. I don't know how they do that. There is a resistance or a rebellion. There's a rebellion on Mars, and these people are reptilians. I know that. What else? That's all I can say.
Okay, well, that's fascinating. So because I've also heard that there's indigenous reptilian and indigenous insectoid life forms on Mars that go back many hundreds of thousands of years. They've been there a long, long time, but they live underground. And the Ciakars came and other groups came to establish bases and dominate the surface of Mars. But yeah, that makes sense that that the reptilians, the indigenous reptilians on Mars, are resisting the Ciakars, that they don't want them there. That makes sense. So as I understand it then, Elena, so roughly 4 years ago, the Earth Alliance is formed, and the Earth Alliance was giving permission for the Galactic Federation to come in and clean up a lot of the extraterrestrial bases on the Earth, like the deep underground bases where there were joint extraterrestrial and, we call it the deep state or the cabal that they had joint facilities, or whether they might be some extraterrestrial bases just working alone, that the Galactic Federation was coming in and destroying or cleaning up a lot of these bases, helping the Earth Alliance, and that they had, I assume that they was fairly successful in eliminating all of the extraterrestrial bases, or most of them. And then after that operation was completed, then they began to do the same thing on the moon. And then just a couple of weeks ago, that operation was finished, and now they're starting on Mars. Is that kind of like the sequence?
Yes, it's exactly how I understood it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now what's very interesting is, you point out that the Galactic Federation distinguishes between hostile extraterrestrials manipulating and controlling Earth and human governments like the deep state. So like these satellites that they've started to take out now, are those satellites, those I assume are controlled by the deep state, by the cabal?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
can the Galactic Federation, I mean, you said the Galactic Federation is deactivating or destroying these satellites. Is that allowed under galactic law, cosmic law?
So yes, that's a good point, because I had this discussion with him a long while ago, when he was telling me about we are deactivating. CEO was saying, "Oh, all these satellites in orbit." Um, there is actually a story I didn't tell you about a cosmonaut from the ISS. That's a whole story I'm going to tell you if you want afterwards. Well, all these satellites, okay, they cannot destroy human Terran technology made by humans, because that breaks the law.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this explains, I just wonder, wow, Stephen Chow, what he said about the Greys in Area 51 getting humans to build their stuff. Because if it's built by humans, it's not allowed to be destroyed. If it's built by extraterrestrials, yeah, go on, destroy, you can. And so Thor Han had told me that day, it's maybe 6 months ago, we're talking about that, that no, these satellites are built by humans with Orion and Altairan technology, but built by humans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's extraterrestrial. So they can't destroy them, but they get around by jamming them, by deactivating them. That's
Mm-hmm.
always, that's something that's not working, because they work in a grid. It's like a Christmas lights. If
Mm-hmm.
one goes wrong, the whole you know what I mean? It's kind of the same. So they deactivate some of them that it looks kind of natural, like malfunction,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is still not working.
Okay, that's good to clarify that. So there's a way, even though these satellites, because they were built out of this collaboration between the deep state and extraterrestrials, the Galactic Federation can, not outright destroy them, because ultimately they're human made, but because of the extraterrestrial connection, they can intervene to a limited degree, and just by deactivating them or disrupting the activity. Okay.
Yes.
So it's very interesting that you connected to the, I won't mention the word either, but that thing that is being pushed around the world. And so that says that this has been planned for a long time, that that everything that we're seeing recently with the lockdowns and the reaction to this, thing that people are suffering from around the world, that actually was planned a long time ago. In fact, I have written a few stories about someone in the city of London talking about in 2005 that there was plans for a kind of a disease that would come from China that would go all around the world. That was back in 2005. I've talked about that. And so these satellites then presumably were built since that time, so that when things started to happen, that these satellites could be activated and to control people through the
Yes.
thing people are receiving now.
Yes. And there is, Thor Han told me there's a mother computer which is buried in under USA somewhere. This mother computer, as he calls it, is supposed to be the brain. Like he visualized to me like a spider. That's the central core, and it connects everything together. And it's like a hive intelligence. And you know, the hive system, it's grays. They function as hive structure. So anything that's hive-like structures with a central queen or something like that, it's signed grays. So for the moment, this queen is unfortunately deactivated, not working. So they are taking care that this thing is not working
Mm-hmm.
to gain time.
So this mother computer, or we talk about a supercomputer, some sort of quantum computer. Is
Yeah,
that human technology or is that extraterrestrial
no,
technology?
yes, it's gray, Orion gray technology.
I see.
Yeah,
But again, they built it. Well, they did the Greys or the Orions. Did they get the humans to build it?
yes,
Again, that same way of circumventing this non-interference principle of
yeah.
like getting the subject race to build the technology to suppress themselves.
It is like their facilities on Mars. They get to these facilities to be built by humans
Mm-hmm.
and get humans to live in it. So it
Mm-hmm.
cannot be destroyed, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's very important to understand these satellites, the role that they play in this plan to really control humanity. So the question I have now is, are the satellites that were destroyed or deactivated, are they separate to Elon Musk's Starlink network? I think he plans to put like 30,000 microsatellites up there. Is that is that a separate thing, or is the Galactic Federation destroying older satellites that have been up there for 5, 10 years?
Elon Musk project is part of it,
Mm-hmm.
part of this concept. But there is a competition between corporation and people with money.
Mm-hmm.
And Elon Musk is competing with another corporation. I don't know who it is, but they're all competing to take over. And the one who will have the market and who will have the control about, imagine, everyone, the whole planet will be so powerful. So it's a competition. So there are different parties. That's Elon Musk is part of this. He has his own project,
Mm-hmm.
but there are others as well who have their own project, and there's so many satellites
Mm-hmm.
from different people.
And people are very interested in Elon Musk. And I know you earlier on you mentioned that he was on Mars. Was he part of this meeting involving Mars? You know,
Yes,
just repeat that again. You know,
yes.
what was Musk's role?
This remote viewer who contacted me, so he was attending a meeting on Mars in the human main facility, the US one,
Mm-hmm.
uh, with reptilian officers. There were representatives of NASA, and she saw as well Elon Musk, um, and there were others. She didn't. He, she didn't say he said or did something. He was just attending.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay,
yeah.
so this is just another person, another source, a remote viewer that whose information we don't know, we can't really assess it, but you're getting your information direct from Thor Han, from the
Yes.
Galactic Federation, and through the implant, this modified implant that you got when you were 9 years old, that you're able to see through this emotional connection. When that's activated, you're able to see or connect with Thor Han or other members who have the frequency or the wavelength to do that.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so your information really is coming directly from uh, those within the Galactic Federation, and that's very, very, very important to know.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's something that I thought kind of plays into all of this. That there's just a couple of days ago, Dr. Stephen Greer. I don't know if you're aware of him, but he was the person that
Yes.
organised the 2001 Disclosure Project press conference. He said that it's very, very likely in the next few months that we're going to see a alien false flag invasion. And I thought that was very interesting, because you're telling us that the Galactic Federation is militarily intervening, destroying facilities, destroying extraterrestrial bases on Mars, on the Moon, on the Earth, and also interfering with the man-made technologies that are built in collaboration with the extraterrestrials, with these negative extraterrestrial groups. So I'm just wondering, well, if does is this something you know anything about? Does the Galactic Federation said anything to you about a possible false flag alien invasion?
He has regularly spoken to me about that they are trying to um, devilize, like the Galactic Federation and the good
Demonized.
allies, demonize. Thank you. Sorry, excuse my French. Demonize the Galactic Federation, the Andromedan Council, and everybody, saying, "Oh, all the aliens are horrible and bad," and they are going. That's one point, and second point, as if that was the option since the start, if the wasn't working to submit the world population as consentant zombies, they would have this plan, this backup plan, to by holographic illusion, as said, and not only by physical vessels that Earth people have built, stage a fake alien threat. Then they would say, oh, we are, some leaders of the deep state would say, oh, we are the saviors. The whole world must make an effort now to unite under very harsh tyrannic rules, as a whole tyrannic state, and a totalitarian system, because this is the only way now that we can fight these aliens. And that's the plan B or C, or the last one, last resort plan. And so there has been a lot of UFO sightings recently, and all are not genuine extraterrestrials. Many and more, and there's going to be more UFO sightings that are UFOs made by Earth militaries with the help of extraterrestrials, because we have many crafts built with alien technology. Uh, we have only, what's interesting is that these greys who have given us this, well, these militaries, this, how to build these ships. We know how to build them, but they didn't give us the propulsion methods and the cloaking systems and interdimensional jumps and everything. They didn't give that to us. They just gave us how to build one, like the ship by itself, but not the interesting stuff, because they don't want us to use that. They're not mad, they're not crazy. So the flying saucers that we are going to see more and more, many of them will probably be Earth made, but the technology won't be very harmful. It will all be a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you just said is exactly what Charles Hall said. He wrote the Millennium Hospitality series of books talking about the tall greys. He called them the tall whites, but they were working with the Air Force out of Nellis Air Force Base, and that they were doing that they were giving kind of like less developed technologies in the 1960s to the Air Force, and keeping the most advanced technologies for themselves. So they would show them how to build a spacecraft, say with an atomic propulsion system that could get from here to the moon or here to Mars using atomic propulsion, but not the kind of warp drives or antimatter drives that would get them from our solar system to other solar systems.
No.
That was not what they were sharing.
Oh no, DZTs, they keep everything under control.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So as I understand it, then, so as far as the kind of like the agenda of the kind of negative or the draconian, reptilian, grey alliance with the cabal, with the deep state, is, their plan A is to control humanity through this kind of satellite system that is put up there so that it can then monitor or influence people who have had their DNA altered by the jab, and Plan B is an alien false flag event.
Yes.
And I don't know if Plan C was to kind of like frighten people so much that if the Galactic Federation intervened, that people would think, oh, the Galactic Federation are evil because we're being conditioned to think that aliens are evil or bad.
That has started. The last one. Throughout, Thor Han had warned me about that. They said they are going to. No, how he said that? He said, because humanity is awakening and opening consciousness, and they realize that they're sovereign being and that they can rescind the agreements made with the Greys on their behalf, and they can stand up and request assistance to the Galactic Federation or the good galactic community as equal. Humanity start to realize that, and there are so many messages that are passed by the Federation to people like me, and I know other people mediatically known on this social medias and stuff, receiving messages to encourage people to stand up and request assistance as equals to our allies, because it's all about free will. They cannot help you until we ask. It's kind of their law. He said to me, because of this phenomenon, people realizing that the dark ones, they are going to take mediatic people to pass the message that, oh no, don't do that, because the Galactic Federation works with the cabal and is evil. So to cut this at the root. And that happened. I saw these messages popping up on social media. The Galactic Federation is evil. That the whole story started when High Meshed talk about the Galactic Federation. Then the Dark Ones went, oh, wait a minute, no, that people must stop hoping that they're going to help them. We need to kill that and tell them, make them believe that they're bad. And that has started. And I've been fighting since, saying, no, they are our allies. They are the ones who warned Eisenhower in 1954 not to sign with the Greys. It's so, and that has already started to demonize our allies. It has started already, yeah. They're desperate. And the fact that the Galactic Federation just passed a gear and decided to just act, it's not good for them.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, that the negative extraterrestrial groups working with the deep state, with the cabal, that they would condition people to think that extraterrestrials are all evil or bad, so that that way the Galactic Federation would not be able to get the free will approval for intervention, that there's not enough people that are knowledgeable and say, yes, come, we need your help to get rid of this evil that is in control of our planet. And that's been going on for a long time, that, or even in the 1950s with the early contactees. They were all demonized, and they were discredited and attacked viciously by even people within the UFO community, and that goes right up until today. And I think the information you have to share about the Galactic Federation is very important, because I believe that there is a group of very positive extraterrestrials that are trying to help our planet. And the Galactic Federation, the Andromeda Council, these are the groups that are mentioned, that have been mentioned by me. There's others, the Sphere Being Alliance, other kind of similar groups that are connected, that are trying to help. And we need to educate people that these are positive extraterrestrials that are here, that they are very uh, dedicated to lifting human consciousness. And I know this is a big part of your work, is to not only inform people about the Galactic Federation, but to raise consciousness, to raise their frequency. So just explain why that's important for you and the Galactic Federation.
Thor Han insists very, very strongly for me to pass this message, that the job we have, he says, you have one job. We are taking care of working with your military personnel and all the military operations, and you, the other people, you have one job: rise your frequency. And he's very, very serious about it. And it's not all a new agey thing, because there are so many new agey manipulation and extravaganza. This is a real thing. It is the frequency of consciousness. If we rise our frequency, we suddenly become of a faster rate of vibration, and we are no more vulnerable to mind control. Why? Because the mind control, what is that? It is, of course, the medias, but it is as well broadcasted fear, that it, be it spread by the medias, the governments, or the satellites broadcasting low frequency. There are towers also on Earth broadcasting fear and confusion. All of this, what does it do? It's broadcasting frequencies on the level of fear. And every emotion has a Hertz frequency. So fear is a certain frequency. And when you're of a low frequency, you're subject to it, and you're bind and locked down. And that's a very adequate word. They lock us down. Rising your frequency, what is it? It's first refusing fear, blocking it. That doesn't come from me, it comes from the outside. Gather within yourself through meditation. I teach that on my YouTube channel. I have so many exercises. But the basics is to go within yourself, find your inner being, who are you, and that's all what matters, what exists. And find peace and joy and high feelings. And well, it's and you rise your frequency, and then you really reconnect with your power. And that is our job, because once we do that, we are more able to work, spread the truth without being intimidated or attacked, help others rise consciousness. And once we're all aware of what's going on, when we are not subject to fear anymore, it doesn't affect us. We're out of it. That's something. It helps them, and we've reached the next level in our evolution. It's very important we do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very important. I agree. I always emphasize, because that's a question I often get in my exopolitics webinars, is, well, how do we deal with all of this evil that's out there, and the control is, well, raise your frequency, raise your consciousness, and do things like prayer, meditate, spend a lot of time in nature. I mean, all of those very practical things. But one of the things that I thought was very interesting, I saw one of the interviews that you did with Elisa Wright, and you began talking about the star tetrahedron, the crystal, and talked about, here I have one here, and you talked about spinning
yes.
it, and how spinning it generates a field. And so I tried it. I do have one. We've had one for years, and I was doing it with my wife, who's a very good psychic also, and she was like, I've got her to close her eyes, and I started to just say, well, feel my energy field, and she said, okay, I've got a baseline. So then I got the star tetrahedron, and I said, and I started spinning it like that, and I said, well, what do you feel now? So she's got her eyes closed. She says, well, now I'm feeling just a pulse of light, of energy
Yeah,
coming from you. And so that was confirmation that, yeah, just spinning these things generates a uh, an energy pulse, a positive energy pulse. And that got me thinking, well, if you could do that with a little crystal quartz, just spinning at the star tetrahedron, imagine if you envisage yourself in the middle of one of these things that's
that's it.
spinning. So tell us about that.
Yes, this is a very important to raise your vibration and keep you protected from for instance, the greys or the reptilians. They can approach you, but that disturbs. And if some species of greys, such as the mitras, it burns them. They can't approach you. And when they do their abductions, they have to go very fast in the night. So if one people pose problem, they just leave it. This is an interdimensional device, as I've been told, and it can create a very high frequency. And if you wear it, or you have it in your energy field, in your aura, and you just spin it, for instance, it raises your frequency so high and so fast. That's a super protection. You can also manifest it, build one with the energy that is around you, what my friends call the frill, or the key, the same thing. You build it. I have tutorials how to build it on my channel. Can you lose time if I show you now? You build one with light energy around you, and you're in it, and you really buzz it, you really activate it. You are so protected. And if you spin it around you, you can project your consciousness somewhere else, and this becomes a light ship. That's a level really of training. You need to train, but it's doable. Everybody can do that. So it's called Merkaba. I have a big one here every time I do my videos. It's orgonite and crystal. This, interestingly, it is the same. It is the volume version of the Metatron. I have, I don't know if I can take it. Metatron is the flattened version of it. Here we go. That's this. Okay. This is, okay, it is called sacred geometry, but it's not really sacred. It's energy geometry. The shapes are creating generators of energy, the geometry. It represents all the created shapes in the universe. This is very, very powerful. This symbol was, interestingly, given to King Solomon by gods, who told him it was a ring. Wear this ring, and this will protect you from very evil entities. And this became that it was called the seal of Solomon. But at the origin, it was this given by ETs, saying that will protect you against bad ones. And we now we know it really works. It really works, and it's not a religious thing at all, and nothing to do with the religion. It is extraterrestrial knowledge, and it is a gift to humanity to protect ourselves against entities striving on lower frequencies. So that you wear this is good, but that is better because it is shape, it is a volume, so it's energy device. It creates by the shapes it sends. I don't know the name in English. In French, I would say
star tetrahedron.
Yes.
The star tetrahedron.
Yes, it's called also Merkaba in Egyptian as well. It's an Egyptian name, Merkaba.
Mhm.
Um,
Great. So this is something that you teach people also how
yes,
to activate their Merkaba,
yes,
that there's a connection between our consciousness and this kind of geometric design that if we use our consciousness, we can build one around our body. Is that how
yes,
you're teaching people? Because that seems
yes,
very similar to what was happening in the 1980s. I actually remember doing one of the Flower of Life workshops with that was created by Drunvalo Melchizedek. And I did that back in the 80s, and I tried it out, and I thought, well, that's interesting. It was very difficult, so I eventually stopped doing it. But I was very intrigued watching you spinning this, and then seeing the effect it created when my wife could feel the energy, and then I was just talking to her, spinning it, and she was saying, "Stop, stop! It's disrupting the communication." It's and and that was another aspect that I thought was interesting.
yes. When I one day I was in communication with Thor Han, my contact in Galactic Federation, um, passing by my implant, my device, and I was talking to him, and I'm not going to do it well, although I'm not connected. I was spinning it. You need to spin it clockwise, by the way, and I start to feel pain in my where my implant is. And what are you doing? And it was bzz, 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 bzz. And he said, "Are you going to keep on spinning this thing?" And because I need to, or because otherwise I need to retune your implant. I went, "Oh my God, okay." It was disrupting the communication. Amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Well, I just want to finish up with one more question, and it's like you did say that in one of your recent updates that you've seen the future, and it's
Yes.
a glorious future. So what did you see? How did you see that?
Thorhan showed it to me, and I received as well a vision myself one day. The vision I had was everybody going down in the streets and laughing and hugging each other, uh, dancing, hugging each other, saying, "It's over, it's over, it's over." And I don't know what it was about. And it's joy, like it was the whole planet was concerned by it. The whole big joy. That's something I've seen that gives me hope. But more than this, Thorhan showed me. He explained to me that there are timelines, that timelines are not fixed. The future is not fixed. The future has a timeline always, but this timeline depends on the moment. So how as things are as things are at the moment, the timeline is as such. But what he said to me, it is pretty stable. You, he said, "I am very confident. This is stable timeline, and that's it. It's going to stay like this because of the parameters are stable now." So this timeline, although we are going to go through bad times again, in the meantime, this timeline is positive. So yeah, there's gonna be very soon a bit more confusion. uh, Confusion will be very difficult because when there is wars, for instance, and you know where you stand, you know what's going on, you stand for this or this side, it's fine, you go. But confusion, this is worse because you don't know what to think, who is good or is bad, and that's the most horrible thing, confusion. So that's the whole last attempt of the deep state and friends to hold us down. So beware if you feel confused, if all what you believe is being rocked upside down. Do the meditation, go inside, be the rock in the storm, and it will pass. So that is going to happen. It is the last, moves of the beast, dying beast. It tries to bite at the last moment. Um, Yeah. So after that, that's going to pass. And there is going to be um, free energy released. The whole century that we have been stolen technologically will be given back. We we have been given technology by the Federation and the Andromedan Council that has been stolen from us by the deep state. That is going to be released and given to us again. So free energy, it's all the Tesla technology and these things, and more anti-gravity and other stuff. Um, because the productivity of food will be super cheap because free energy, the food is going to be cheap, less, no more hunger in the world, or so few. And the whole countries will be federated as a peaceful federation. But that's a little bit after, because we need to recover from all of this happening now. Thor Han gave me a a date, 100 years for federated countries, more or less. It's never settled in time. Um, then this, yeah, what to say else? The money system. He said there will be the use of metal, more use of metal, and coupled with an abstract system. I don't know what it means.
Mhm.
Something abstract, but using at the same time metal. I don't know, but that's, I repeat his words. Um, we will have a recovery time, and then about in 100 years, we will be members of the galactic community. And when he said that, I went, 100 years. He said, yes. He said, but that's the, what we can tell regarding to how it works now. He said, but all is in your hands. You can speed it up. You can speed it up if you really make this effort of awakening and raising your consciousness and refusing to be slaved. You can speed it up. How things are, it's 100 years, but you can speed it up. And the longer future, I've seen, I don't know if it's a million years, but it's very, very far in time. Human beings have spread themselves in the galaxy. We don't look like this anymore. We are taller, thinner. We have a paler skin, bit bluish. No more hair, a little bit. You know how people, how we picture the Arcturians or the Andromedans,
Mhm.
like this,
I
like
see.
this. So that's what I've been
Interesting.
told.
So there's a long-term uh, future where we become part of the Galactic
Yes,
Federation, and we evolve physically to kind of look more like the Andromedans or the Arcturians. So there's the long term, which is a very positive, but that might take 100 years or less, depending on how quickly we raise our consciousness. But in the short term, you've talked about, this is a very dark period, but we're going to come out of it very soon. So that right now, people, we're all experiencing at a global level a very dark period, but this
yes,
is not going to last for long. And when we come out of that, there's going to be the start of this kind of more long-term process, but it'll be a slow but glorious awakening.
yes, the golden age. Um, he told me about a recovery period where humanity will need to heal from its wounds. That's on many levels.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, that's wonderful. Well, it's been an hour, so I think it's good to kind of keep it at this time. So, if people want to learn more about your work, your workshops, book, where do they go?
Thank you. So my YouTube channel, Elena Danaan, has all the workshop for free for your protection, rising your frequency, all about these Merkaba devices, and all my updates and videos. So that's very helpful. If you want to buy my book, which is very helpful as a repertoire of alien races, who are all these races with drawings, all the alliances, federation, who is doing what. So you can find this on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. You just type Elena Danaan, and the book is A Gift from the Stars. And I tell a lot my story and all the knowledge I got in it. Well, not all, but the repertoire of alien races and the alliance. So if you want to find all about me, I have a website, elenadanaan.org, not com, org. That's where you can find me.
Well, thank you, Elena. It's been a pleasure having you on Exopolitics today, and I look forward to talking to you again in the future. Aloha.
With pleasure. Aloha.